Ladies and gentlemen, this is TVP World. You're watching another edition of Break the Fake, where we debunk fake news and combat false narratives. I'm your host, Benjamin Lee, and let's get rolling. Kremlin propaganda keeps assuring everyone that Russia's economy is stronger than ever. In truth, it's as stable as soggy cereal and warm milk. After years of war and sanctions, the economy has started eating itself, and along with it, ordinary Russians who are now literally cutting down their meals. Official statistics confirm what every Russian refrigerator could tell you. People are eating less. In just 2 months, consumption dropped by 9% for buckwheat and meat, 10% for rice, and 8% for milk. The only thing that has gone up is prices. So, tighten your belt has moved from a proverb to a policy. The Kremlin calls it adapting to new conditions. In plain language, it's just hunger with a PR department. Now, the cause of this food patriotism hasn't changed: the war. While the Kremlin feeds the army and the defense industry, stores raise prices faster than inflation can chase them. The budget is crackling, oil isn't saving it, and the priorities stay untouched. Tanks first, bread later. Russia now lives on the Kremlin diet, minus 9% buckwheat and 10% rice, plus a full serving of TV lies. Officials say it's all for stability, which is technically true. An empty fridge doesn't fall over. And while Putin talks about boosting the economy, most Russians are just lifting pot lids, looking for what's left of the great power. There's a new sensation on Russian television. Vladimir Solovyov, the Kremlin's loudest voice, suddenly revealed his American secret. Turns out he's an honorary resident of the state of Alabama. Now, he quickly clarified that the title doesn't give him any privileges, which is good because he didn't get a dacha, a ranch, or even a free burger. Apparently, in Alabama, they don't know that in Russia, honorary citizens usually get at least a TV show and a car with flashing lights. Now, Solovyov has a new grievance. America both recognized and betrayed him. They gave him a title, but not even a discount at Walmart.
Трамп журналистов, конечно, не любит. Это мы помним, да? Журналисты – это враги американского народа. Может, это и так. Можно с ним, наверное, это согласиться.
Не знаю, я почетный житель штата Алабама.
Ну, вы же
У меня в грамоте почетного жителя штата Алабама не написано, что я враг народа.
Нет, ну... Я не думаю, что российские журналисты туда входят.
Российские журналисты не враги народа, да?
А потом,
тогда я не был журналистом.
Когда присваивали это. Кстати, удивительно, что, хотя Алабама такой штат, почему не отняли-то?
Я думаю, что они просто
забыли. Да?
Даже не морочились на эту тему.
Просто забыли. Тем не менее, когда Трамп...
Но согласитесь, это выглядело бы еще глупее.
Там скидка на ЖКХ есть?
Нет, ну там многие вещи.
Там нет ничего, кроме красивой грамоты и рамочки. Ничего больше это не дает ничего.
Там многие вещи были смешными, но в результате...
And of course, the story turned out to be a classic propaganda fairy tale. In reality, Solovyov just lived in Alabama in the 1990s and briefly helped with Bush Sr.'s campaign. No awards, no titles, no certificates. But in propaganda, if there are no facts, pride works just as well. The honorary Alabama story fits Solovyov perfectly. Big ego, small truth, and zero contact with reality. If anyone ever revokes his title, it shouldn't be for politics, just for comedy. Because be it Alabama or any other state, it's really hard to find anyone less honorable than Russia TV's own apocalyptic salesman. And once again, a classic of the genre, a true patriot appears on camera somewhere in New York and lectures the decaying West that its mayor should follow Moscow's example. It's clean, beautiful, and orderly there, she says. Sounds convincing, except for one thing. She's saying it while living in New York, not in the perfect Moscow.
Отсюда можем взять положительные примеры. Если мы говорим о положительных примерах, конечно, нужно брать, где бы они ни были. Москва ли, то Португалия, то или еще что-то. Всюду есть чистота, да. Когда я приехала только 22 года тому назад в Америку и видела метро, я думаю, боже мой, я в Америке или нет? Но за эти годы метро стало лучше. Хотя его не сравнить с европейскими.
New York City hosts a wide variety of cultural events. I am sure that he will support cultural events from every part of the world, including the Russian Federation because Russia has a very rich cultural history.
Ни с Лос-Анджелес, ни с Чикаго пример не надо брать. Конечно, Кома должен победить, потому что у него есть experience и большой experience. А те товарищи совершенно unexperienced. И for some reason they would like to come there.
Apparently, love for Russia blossoms best where Russia isn't. It's easier to praise Moscow's roads when you're not sitting in traffic on a ring road, but in a cafe in Manhattan. For this kind of patriot, the ideal way to serve the homeland is from 7,000 kilometers away, with fast Wi-Fi and an American passport. After another lecture about how everything is fine in Moscow, but here it's chaos, you just want to ask, what are you doing here then? Buy a ticket. There are regular flights to Moscow. Now, clean sidewalks, proper flags, and television that tells you you're living in the greatest country on earth. But somehow she doesn't rush back. Maybe, deep down, she knows that Russian order means not being able to speak, choose, or complain. And in New York, you can. Which is why this kind of patriotism blooms there better than Ilyik's back home. This is a separate species of propaganda folklore. I love Russia, but with comfort. They talk endlessly about spiritual bonds, yet line up for iPhones in Brooklyn. The best part comes when they start comparing Moscow to New York from a park bench in New York, sipping a $6 latte, explaining how everything is cheaper and better in Russia. Now, loving Russia from the safety of the United States is a new kind of patriotism. No communal flats, no censorship, and stable dollar. But real love, as they say, means being close. So don't worry, dear patriot, tickets to Moscow are still on sale. And somewhere, a room in a communal apartment just opened up with a fine view of the TV. It's waiting for you whenever you decide it is time to return. It seems the Russian auto industry keeps moving confidently straight into warranty service. Another victory in the showroom, the new Niva, the pride of import substitution, which was supposed to beat German cars, managed 30 kilometers before heroically leaking antifreeze.
Нива, пожалуйста, я тебя очень прошу, скажи, что мне это показалось. Скажи, что это не твое. 30 километров пробега. Доброе утро. Даже новое в салоне ломается.
Oof. On paper, it's all impressive, right? Domestic components, reliable design, advanced technology. In reality, it's the same story. Bolts from the last century, gaskets made from flip-flops, and Visya, the mechanic, assembling it while watching a propaganda show. The Niva was meant to prove Russia's independence from the West, which it did by also declaring independence from physics. In Europe, you see, a car breaks down after 300,000 kilometers. In Russia, it takes 30,000 instead, 10 times faster thanks to optimization. According to the manufacturer, though, this wasn't a malfunction, just a planned tactical leak test, a test that failed on the first drop. While Putin talks about getting back on our feet, Russian cars are climbing into jack stands. Import substitution, Russian style, means everything is ours, except what actually works. Still, there is a bright side. 30 kilometers is progress. Maybe next time, the Niva will make it all the way to the gas station, assuming there's any antifreeze left. And with that, we conclude this edition of Break the Fake. But for more news, update, and commentary, please stay tuned to TVP World.